Hey, welcome or welcome back to 4F Beauty. When will I be YouTube famous? I don't know. And neither do my girlies from the Beauty YouTuber Growth Group. But we keep shouting each other out. They are always listed in my description box, and they'd be delighted to see you. After you've watched my film, of course. And if you're wondering how I got this fabulous green look, well, surprisingly, it's Morphe. And more specifically, the 15t, Your True Selfie. So, if you're wondering how I achieved this look, my friend, you are in exactly the right place. Grab a drink, grab a snack, put your feet up. Here comes a tutorial. Hey, welcome back from the intro. It's just come over really overcast, so I hope my white balance lasts through the whole of this video. You will have seen this in the intro. This is the 15t Your True Selfie from Morphe. I really like how this is packaged. Inside here, you've got a double bagging of bubble wrap with the palette on the inside. So I was really pleased with that, because I know in the past Morphe's been a bit hit and miss with whether or not shadows arrive unbroken. Nice, just plain Morphe on the front, obviously plastic, and on the back tells you the name of the palette. So I'm going to zoom in. While I'm zooming you in, I'm going to put swatches up on the screen and talk you through them. All of these have got a hashtag in front of them, but I am not going to keep saying bloody hashtag in front of each name, okay? Okay. Right, so top row from left to right, or wrist to elbow. You've got Morphe Babe, Strike a Pose, Dope Pick, No Filter Needed, Blend the Rules, Woke Up Like This, Sorry Not Sorry, OOTD, which obviously is outfit of the day. And then on the second row, again from left to right, we've got Throwback, Relationship Goals, Artist Before, After, Work It, spelled W-E-R, okay, and Glam. Hello, I'm back, I'm not centred. Now you decide to do DIY. All day. Now you decide to start tap, 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 tap. Hello. Oh, I didn't show you the inside of it, did I? Nice big mirror, and that's the shades. Okay. Probably should have done that when I was zoomed out, never mind. Right, if you are new to my channel, there are just a few announcements. I suffer with chronic pain, so I can't blend very quickly. And I also want my channel to be suitable and my tutorials to be suitable for everybody, from people who've never picked up a brush before to full-on experts. So, you can hopefully follow me speed-wise, regardless of your abilities. But if you are quicker than myself and you just want to see the colours I'm using and how I'm laying them down, then by all means, either up here or down there, there's a speed widget. Feel free to speed me up, even though I will sound like a chipmunk. Now, I've got very deep set eyes, but with my eye open, looking straight ahead, you can see all of my mobile lid from inner corner to outer corner. So I don't have hooded eyes. If you don't see all of that, you've either got a half or a full hooded lid, or what's known as an Asian or a mono eye. Now, you can still follow my tutorials, but need to do a few changes. Now, when I do my crease colour, I can follow the physical shape of my eye socket here. If you need to create a lid space, then get a flat top brush, something like this, and with your eye open, just sketch out where you want the colour to be. Obviously, this is going to reduce the space between your crease line and your brow. So, I'm going to be using two brushes like this. They are clean, they're just stained. Oh, and that's the front door. Perfect timing, hold on. Okay, I'm back. That was my Hermes, who decided that because I couldn't get to the door quick enough, you know, being disabled like, they put the parcel on the bloody windowsill. I'm on a main road. They did this to me yesterday with, funnily enough, this Morphe palette. No note through the door to say they'd left it on the windowsill. Right. So. Now, I'll try again. I'm going to be using two brushes like this. They are clean, they're just stained. So I'm going to be using a big fluffy brush and a more tapered fluffy brush. Now, if your brows are lower than mine, or you've had to lift your crease up, when I start with this brush, you need to start with this one. And when I move down to this more tapered brush, you need something like this. I know it looks like a pencil brush, it isn't. It's still loosely packed for blending, as you can see. This is a tapered crease brush. This particular one is from Coastal Scents. But if you use those, you will find that you can still follow my tutorial. So, now, greens, notoriously, are the most difficult colours to create. And we've got a whole row of them here. Plus, that is actually quite a greeny brown. Don't know how well that will. Just looks like brown in the viewfinder. Please trust me, it has got like a greeny undertone to it. Now, when I used the 15S, I hadn't checked the back of it to make sure there were no pressed pigments, and there were. I've checked the back of this one. These are all eye safe. They are all eye shadows. If you have got pressed pigments, literally all it means, although it says they're not for use in the immediate eye area, basically it means they're very highly pigmented. They could stain your skin. An oil-based cleanser. I use this particular one from Superdrug, Vitamin E, which is a dual phase oil. You basically shake it until the two oils mix and use that on a cotton pad. That gets off staining even from Jeffrey's Blood Sugar, and to be honest, Jeffrey's Blood Sugar is about the only palette that's ever stained my skin anyway. So yeah, if you haven't got an oil-based cleanser, you can just use like olive oil from the kitchen or coconut oil. It's just the oil will break down the pigment molecules. Okay. Now I've got my colour switch here for tapping off into. As you can see, I did purple last time. You don't have to use a colour switch for changing the colour on your brush. I've actually got a washcloth here, and I will be using this today to take any colour off of my brushes, just to show you that you don't have to use a colour switch, and also because my sponge in this is starting to get a bit ropey, so it's still okay for tapping off into, not so much for cleaning it because it starts to tear. So, shall we start putting some colour onto my face? Would that be a good idea? Yes, it would be a good idea. Shut up, Ange, and start blending. Right, I'm going to go into Before, which is the green, olivey green matte on the bottom. Reasonable amount of kick up in it. Where am I? There we go. That one. Don't worry about it though, because we can just pick up that when we come back to it for the next bit of blending we're going to do. Now, I'm going to start off, you can see it's picked up a reasonable amount of pigment on the brush and I have tapped off. So I'm going to start off using a windscreen wiper movement through my crease. Just backwards and forwards, just to lay that colour down. I might have a little bit of pigment left on this brush from that before. Let's change brushes. Let's go in with a different brush. Still a fluffy one. As I was saying, backwards and forwards like a windscreen wiper, just to lay the colour down so we can see where we are blending from. Okay, now that's tucked itself back away in my deep set eye, but I'm not worried about that, because what we're about to do now, I'm going to pick up the kick up, and because I've lost about 10-11 stone in the last few years, and because I'm 44, the skin on my eyelids moves. Okay, this side I've actually got permanent creasing just in that corner there, because this eye got pulled around an awful lot at the ophthalmic when I was a child, because I am actually blind in it. I didn't do very well at setting that concealer that side, did I? That's all I've got on my lids, by the way. Revolution Concealer and Define Concealer, which I've set with Coty Airspun. So now, holding the brush right at the very end, so we put as little pressure on as possible. I'm going to start here. I'm going to keep the bottom of the bristles in contact with that crease line, and we're going to do tiny little circles. Then when we get to the middle, we're going to lift the brush up without coming off of our skin, reverse the direction, and come back again. Okay? So, little twirly whirlies across to the middle, up a bit, reverse the direction, and come back again. And because I've got deep set eyes, I've got a lot of eyelid space to play with, so I can go up, go back to the original direction, and come back again. Just want to add a wee bit more pigment up the top here because I've got some creasing here, so I do struggle with getting pigment to actually go on. I usually do have to top it up a little bit. Hope your day's been going well, by the way. Or if you're at the start of your day, I hope you're going to have a good one. Can't remember if I've already said that to you after getting interrupted by the courier. I also struggled just here lately getting pigment to go on both sides, just at the edge of the crease there and at the top there. But as you can see, if you just tap a bit of extra pigment on, give it a blur. I'm going to be putting some darker colours over this bit anyway, so I'm not overly fussed if that's still a tad patchy just there, but this top corner does need to be. Right, once you're happy with the amount of colour that's on there, without adding any more pigment onto the brush, we're going to go back to doing windscreen wipers, but we're going to go up and down in short strokes Okay, so we're going to start at the top here, all the way down, and back up again, and go across, and come all the way down, and go back up again, and again. And this just helps make sure that we've gently, if you can see, if I do that, you can see it does actually move the skin around. So we then do just a mixture of twirly whirlies and windscreen wipers, just to make sure we've got that completely blended out how we want it. For an olive green, which are quite difficult to create, that particular shade of green, oh, that's not too bad. Oh, I've got toothache. Right, let's do the same on this side. So we start off with the windscreen wiper through the crease. Now obviously with this eye I can actually close it, so you can see a little bit easier what's going on. Now normally doing the twirly whirlies will sort any tiger striping or bar coding. Doesn't always work for me with this side because I've got those deep creases there. Just to show you, see, I've got real good old stripes there. Sometimes doing the twirly whirlies works, sometimes it doesn't, and I do have to actually gently pull the lid out to clear those, but let's see whether it will work this time, shall we? So again, I've picked up more pigment, tapped off, twirly whirlies, up a bit and back again, and for me I can go up again. I tend to leave about 4 or 5 mils width, or about a normal brush width, from the lowest part of my brow. Just really because A, it helps the brow bone highlight look more impactful, and also because taking the colour right up to your brows is actually quite ageing. A lot of people don't even take colour up as high as I do, but I like playing with colour, and I figure I've got a lot of lid space, so God obviously wanted me to have plenty of space to colour in, and who am I to say no? So again, we're going to do our windscreen wipers up and down, just to help blend that nicely. Again, I'm not overly fussed by this bit here because I'm going over it in a darker colour in a minute. I do need to add just a wee bit extra, just on this top corner again though, just to make sure that we've got an equal amount of pigment both sides. I'm actually quite impressed by this. I mean, I've got the Jacqueline Vault and 2 different palettes have got an olive green in it. One of them worked very well, like this, and one of them didn't. So I'm extremely glad that this one appears to have the good formula. Just clean most of the pigment off of that. Right. I'm now going to go down to my more tapered brush. If you started with this, now's the time to go down to your tapered crease brush. And I am going to go into outfit of the day, I think, which is that green toned brown. No, I'm not going to come down to this one. I'm going to continue to use my thicker brush I'm going to put a second colour in, I think. That's a super thick brush though, so I'm going to go for a slightly smaller one. Right, with your original brush, go into that outfit of the day, which is a green toned brown, and again we're just going to run that through the crease initially. And then pick up the kick up. Now, this time when we blend the colour, instead of going up the eye, we're going to just keep in touch with this crease line we've just put in, but we're still going to reverse the direction and come back again. Let me show you what I mean. So again, little circular movements across to the middle, but just don't lift your brush up. Reverse the direction and come back again. We're still in touch with that crease line, but we haven't gone up, so we haven't covered up that nice olive green that we started with. Alright, we'll just go backwards and forwards a few times just to get that nicely blended. You can see now, I hope, when I'm blending this out, that this brown definitely has green in it. I think it's going to be one of those chameleon-like shades where if I'd used Strike a Pose or Woke Up Like This or Throwback, which are more orangey browns, I think if I'd used this it would have shown up more brown than green. So that's quite useful. Obviously I'm going to keep using this palette and try all the different shades and everything. I'm going to try and do a low buy in 2019. Yeah, wish me luck. I ended up buying this one and the 15s at a painsomnia moment at 2:30 o'clock in the morning. I've been looking at them for a while, to be fair. I was looking at these before I bought the Vault actually. They were 16 quid each, and I'm like, yeah, maybe, maybe. And then they went down to 12 quid each, and I was in pain, and I'm just like, do you know what? I'm having them. Right, I'm now going to do exactly the same thing on the other eye. So, start off with our crease line. I'm not overly worried about it hitting, coming down here. I could do a cut crease, I'm not going to because I like to see, first time I use a palette, I like to see whether the shimmers have got enough pigment in them to cover any darker matte shades that have wandered onto the lid. But obviously, you know, you can always do a cut crease, you can always put some concealer down or, you know, tidy up with makeup remover on a Q-tip or cotton bud. If it worries you. So again, just nice little circular movements, holding the brush right at the end so we put as little pressure on as possible. Just making sure we blend that out nicely. And you can see that even with all that beautiful blending, my tiger stripes are still there. So I'm going to grab a little bit more of the pigment, because as well as blending the pigments that's there, I need to add a little bit of pigment to the white stripes. 7 extra lonely wouldn't know me down. Sorry. Being half Welsh, you'll find that I sing a lot. And those that know me know that in most conversations I can find a song lyric that will fit somewhere. As you can see, my eye has decided to water and it's completely taken off the concealer and powder that I'd laid down there. Just as well I'm not doing an extended eye look today. I mean, this is a tad patchy here, But as I said, I do struggle just at that particular point there to get pigment to stay put and to not be. I mean, this side isn't as bad. Let's see, if I treat this like a pressed pigment for a minute and just tap the shade on to blend it. Let's see if that will. Oh yeah, there we say. Oh, that's actually, that seems to be taking the pigment better. If you've got a particular area which when you blend seems to blend the pigment away, you can always try the pressed pigment trick where you pick up a bit of pigment on your brush and you literally, just like I've done there, just tap. So you're tapping the pigment on to blend it rather than either circles or windscreen wipers. Sometimes, I mean, obviously the deeper the colour, the more pigment molecules that are in there, the longer it takes to blend anyway. And greens are difficult to blend, difficult to create. And this is obviously a brown based green. No, green based brown even. I think I need another cup of coffee, folks. But you can see that you can just treat it like a pressed pigment. Just tap, 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 and then it will build the colour up and not look too patchy. Okay. Right, now I'm going to go down to my more tapered brush. So if you started with that, now's the time to go to your tapered crease brush. Right, I'm going to go into Relationship Goals, which is actually, it's like a purpley brown. I don't know how well that's picking up on camera. It's actually got like a purple undertone to it. And of course purples are difficult to create as well, so let's see how this one does. So I'm going to pick up the pigment on the brush, and initially I'm just going to stamp that pigment on the outside edge, on the outside third rather, of my mobile eyelid. And just gently tap that into place. And give a very gentle buff to blend. And I mean very gentle buff at this stage. And then pick up some more pigment on that brush. And again, we're going to run it through the crease as we did the previous two colours. Now, this time we're going to treat it a little bit differently. Rather than picking up more pigment, I'm actually going to take any excess pigment off of this brush. And rather than just having the bottom of the bristles in contact with the shade we've put down, I want this to be completely on that shade we've put down. I just want to really just soften the edges of this shade. I don't want it to overtake the previous colour that we put down. So as tiny sort of circle as you can possibly do, all the way along, and reverse the direction, and come all the way back again. Okay? Because all we're doing is just softening the edges of that line. We're not blending it up the eye at all, because what we're trying to do here, I mean for me it will do anyway because it will just disappear back into the socket of my eye, but especially if you've had to create your own lid space because you've got hooded eyes, just keeping this line as compact but as gently blended at the edges as we can will give the impression that that particular part of the eye recedes. Anything brighter comes forward, anything darker recedes. And obviously, that will then give the impression that you've got more deep set eyes, and will help give dimension to the look. So, let's repeat on this side. Obviously, it's going to be much easier to show you this side. That's a bit of eyelash glue that I haven't got out. Bad me. Bad me. And just because obviously I can close this eye where I'm blinding it. Just demonstrate the placement of the pigment a little bit easier. Right. Pick up to kick up. Yes, half Welsh, half Yorkshire. You'd be amazed some of the accents that come out of this mouth, I tell you. Right. And then again, run that through the crease. Now I do tend to get more fallout this side because where the eye was pulled about so very much, it is looser, and obviously it's also starting to run on me, which is helpful. I'll fix that later. Right. Let's take the excess pigment off of this brush again. I am going to have to pull this out to attack the striping, unfortunately. Don't do this unless you absolutely have to, otherwise you will end up with permanent creasing like I've got, and I can assure you it only gets worse and becomes more and more annoying. Right, and now just tiny circles, just right the way along that crease line, just to soften that deeper shade that we've just put down. And you can still see the three very distinct colours that we've already put on the eye here, and that's what we want. We want to be able to see the difference in tone. Put a bit of pigment back there when my eye decided to water and remove it. So helpful with my eye. I do get this a lot though. Actually, my nose is bunged up. I can't decide whether it's I've got a cold coming or if my hay fever's back again. It's December, for goodness sake. It's, you know, a week before Christmas. Less than a week before Christmas. But my tree in the back garden has still got leaves on it. In fact, both my trees in the back garden have still got leaves on them. The cherry tree's normally lost its long ago. Right, I'm now going to put some shimmer on the lid. And to do this, I'm going to use a flat packer style brush like this. This is a So Eco brush. I would tell you the name of it, but I've had it so long the name's washed off. And I'm going to apply the pigment wet. Now that's not foiling the shade. Foiling the shade would be putting some pigment into one of these little dimples here, mixing it with a mixing medium to turn it into either a paste or a thin liquid and painting that on. What I'm going to be doing is just spritzing the brush and applying them wet. Oh, excuse me, I've got the hiccups. I'm going to use this is the Obsession Pigment Boost. Now, you don't have to use this. You can use a moisturising spray like Fix Plus or Mario Badescu. You can use a priming spray, you can use a fixing spray, you can even use clean water. what you mustn't ever do is go into pressed powder with a wet brush, because then you will cause hard pan where the colour seals over and you cannot get colour out of it next time you go in. I hate seeing people go into a pressed palette with a wet brush. It absolutely freaks me out. So I'm going into shade After, packing that pigment on the brush, beautiful lime green shimmer, and I'm just going to wet the brush. Now I always wipe this bit off the ferrule to make sure there's no moisture that can run down here and loosen the bristles. I'm just going to apply this to the 2/3 of the eye that doesn't have any pigment on it yet. As I said, I could have done a cut crease here with concealer, but I like to see whether the lighter pigments have enough opacity to them to actually cover the deeper matte shades, and it would appear that this one has. My other eye is running like you would not believe right now. I think it thinks it's in competition with Usain Bolt. I normally do the 2/3 to about here, and then kind of go down in like a diagonal to the outer edge of the eye, so you've still got that deeper bit there. See what I mean about this eye? It's proper giving me what for today. Right, now, what I have been doing is taking the pigment off in my colour switch and then drying the brush on my hand, but because I'm using a face cloth or a washcloth or a flannel or whatever you happen to call it in your part of the world, this not only removes the pigment from the brush, but it helpfully dries it for me at the same time. Right, let's see if I can sort this eye out. Really is giving me what for at the moment, folks. And it's not a reaction to the eyeshadow, because if it was, it'd be doing it this side as well. My blind eye does do that sometimes, though. It does just water for no reason. So, going back in with a dry brush, pack the pigment, wet the pigment, dry the ferrule, and apply the pigment. Now, because of the deep creasing I've got here, I do tend to stretch my eyelid out to apply this. Otherwise I find that shimmers get stuck in the creases, and then as they dry, they start flaking off during the day or the evening, depending on when I'm wearing them, which I'm sure you can imagine is both unsightly and blooming annoying when you spent this amount of time to try and look nice. So again, just taper that edge out so it tapers off nicely, so you still see the nice deeper. I mean, you could of course cover the whole of your mobile lid, but I actually find it far more flattering if you leave just that little bit of depth of colour just on that outside edge there. But obviously, if you want to do the whole lid, then you crack on, sunshine, it's your eye. The only rule in makeup is so long as you like it, and so long as it's not offensive to anybody, then who cares if anybody else likes it. Right, I am going to disappear off camera for a minute try and sort my eye out from watering, have a slurp of coffee, and put some foundation on, and I will be back to finish off this eye look, which for you in YouTube land will be instant. There you go. Told you it'd be instant for you, didn't I? Right. I haven't put any mascara on my bottom lashes yet. So, using this nice flat top brush, I am going to go into Glam, which I know it's a shimmer, but I don't care. I'm just going to pop this just under my bottom lashes, right tightly up under the lashes. That's why I like this flat top brush with this, it really gets up under them well. Yes, I'm flinching this side in case I poke myself in the eye, because obviously no peripheral vision. I have to rely on muscle memory and viewfinder to not poke myself in the eye. And regular viewers will know it's not always successful. I'm also going to use just a little bit of this to just try and come up around that edge there, just where my eye had decided it was going to weep on me earlier. There we go. And then to soften that line up, I've got a brush here. It's a very similar shape. It's actually a brush that came with a palette that I bought, a Tarte palette. And it's flat topped, but it's a bit thicker. So it's great for smudging these lower lash lines out. And I am going to go into Artist. Just on the bristles there, tip of the bristles. And very gently just buff that over the darker shade, just to give it a bit of a softer edge, and so you can just see that beautiful lime just peeping out to mirror what we've got on the lid. I have to admit, I really like this palette. I get the feeling I'm going to be teaming this with my Melt Smoke Sessions palette, which I've broken. I had to repress it, unfortunately, so I should be filming with that soon. I get the feeling, because there's only 2 mattes in that palette, I might actually be using some of this one as a companion palette to it. I like that. Considerably. And I shall just pop a little bit of mascara on the bottom lashes there. Now, the lipstick I've got on is it's a Ciate lipstick. It's one of their glitter flips. I've got 2 full-size glitter flips, one in Candy, which is pink, and one in Fortune, which is the purple. But I bought myself the mini 5 set, and I have used shade Whisper on my lips. Oh, so I just need to wiggle, hang on. Sorry about that. Huge pain spike. Right, as I was saying, I've used the shade Whisper on my lips. I'm just going to tilt you down slightly. There we go. And you can see it's a beautiful sort of mauvey shade. Very me. This is my everyday nude. This is what I would wear as a nude lipstick. So it's been on now for about a minute and it is dry. So let's see if these mini ones flip and glitter as well as the large ones do. Yes, they do. And I think I need to get myself the full size of this one. Wow, look at that. And I know from the larger ones, as the day or the evening goes on, obviously some of that glitter becomes less obvious, but you literally just press your lips back together again and it brings the glitter back out again. Genuinely no idea how they work, but really glad they do. Might actually wear this one Christmas Eve. No, Christmas Eve I think I'm going to wear red. I might wear this one New Year's Eve. Particularly glittery. Right, but this is not about the lipstick, this is about the palette. Specifically the Your True Selfie 15t palette. What do I think of it? I'm actually really quite pleased. Obviously I used, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've used 6 of the shades in this so far. Apart from Work It, I've used all of the greens because those are the most difficult shades to create. So I will do other tutorials with the oranges and the browns, etc. But I really wanted to see how those greens would go, and I am really, really pleasantly surprised by this. This actually performs better than the Jacqueline Vault. So there's something for you. Oh, my eye is streaming again. It needs to stop. I haven't filmed the intro yet. Once I film the intro, it can weep as much as it likes. I haven't got to go anywhere. Right. I hope you found this helpful and enjoyed the wittering all the way through it. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could hit that like button, comment, share, subscribe. When you subscribe, don't forget to ring my bell, and choose all notifications so that you get told every time I upload another one of these videos. And talking of another one of these videos, have you seen them all? Have you? Are you sure? YouTube is shocking just lately for showing you my new videos. Why don't you have a quick look and see if there's any you've missed? And once you've watched and liked and commented and shared all of my videos, my beautiful sisters from other misters, my girlies from the Beauty YouTuber Growth Group, are listed in my description box, and they would be delighted to welcome you into their little YouTube family the same way that you have been welcomed into the 4F family. And if you have found my channel through one of those girlies, hi, so pleased to have you on board. I hope you liked it, and I hope you'll stay subscribed. Right, all that remains for me to say, as ever, is you'll stay fabulous, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.